moonshiner, World War II mechanic, and taxi driver. Local cops were approached and asked, "Is there a man around here that drives faster than anybody else?" And they gave them the name Wendell Scott. Race promoters thought it would be a big draw to have a black man out on the track. Wendell begins driving on the Dixie Circuit, and he has good luck with that. He's mainly racing in Virginia and North Carolina for the most part. He gets into NASCAR later with his kids as his pit crew, and he's his own mechanic. And he's facing a lot of problems when it comes to NASCAR later on, a lot of discrimination on the track, but Bill France Sr. backs him up. One track was trying to make him pay for his own fuel, and other drivers weren't required to do this. They got a stipend. So Bill France Sr. backed him up and said, "Absolutely not, you're equal here." He's doing pretty well until 1973, when one of the worst crashes in NASCAR history crushes much of his side, and he can't race anymore after that. In 2015, he was inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and the movie Greased Lightning is loosely based around his life. But the best person to tell the rest of this story is the man himself.
Black drivers, and they thought they didn't know who to approach, so they went to the police department to find out what black guys had speeding records, things like that. So they told them they want somebody to drive a race car to see me. So that's how I started racing.
You had to do things a little bit differently because you didn't have the financial backing that myself and a lot of other people had on the circuit back then, and there were stories that you would get out and make your own pit stop, change tires, or service your car when you'd come in.
Well, some of that was true, but it wasn't to the extent that they built it up to be. And you take my old Chevrolet, I had a sign on it, "Mechanic Me," and people used to get a lot of kick out of that. But most of the work I had to do myself, and I had that on it. People would ask me who was my pit crew, who was my mechanic. I said me, and I was.
What was the biggest thrill you had in racing?
Well, I had a lot of thrills. It looked like it would have been when I won the race at Jacksonville, Florida in '63, but for a while it wasn't a thrill because it was 2 or 3 hours later before I was declared the winner.
They flagged Buck Baker the winner.
Yeah. Jack Smith second, and I was third.
But you knew that you'd won the race.
I had passed Buck Baker 3 times. I only made 1 pit stop for gas and didn't lose a lap, and I knew I had won. And Jack Smith had the fastest time, and if they had had him the winner, it would have been a question in my mind whether I had won or not. But him and Neil Castle got hung up, and they went out across the infield once, and I didn't know how long he stayed in the infield. But it wasn't no question in my mind about Buck Baker. I knew I had won the race.